How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Streamer Survival Guide podcast, and I'm your host, Mr.WatchMeWork. In this podcast, I talk everything that I've learned over the past year, all the good things that I've learned, all the bad things that I've learned. That way your streaming journey can be that much easier and more pleasurable. On today's episode, we're talking production value. Let's get into it. Now, what is production value? Production value is essentially the quality of your production, how your stream or your content looks, how it sounds, and also how it feels. Now, you also don't need to go out and just buy the most expensive things out there on the market or the most top-rated things out there on the market when you're first starting out. The necessary items outside of a PC that you're gonna need is gonna be you need a good mic, you need a quality camera, something like 1080p, 60 frames if possible, if you have the money for it. You need good lighting. At the end of the day, if you have a great camera, it does not matter if you don't have good lighting. So if you're gonna spend the money on a camera, make sure you spend the money on great lighting as well. And then number 4, kind of a bonus thing, is gonna be like a stream deck, your overlays, your bots, different stuff like that. That's gonna also increase your overall production value in the things that you bring to stream or even to your content. Now, when I say you don't need to buy the most expensive things out there, like on the mic side, you don't need to buy a Shure SM7B. Honestly, when I started all this, my production value, I struggled with it. I struggled with production value. The PC that I was running wasn't that great, so it was a 2013 MacBook Pro. It allowed me to get the job done, but the quality just was not good. The mic I had was a Snowball Ice mic, where as a condenser mic, it actually is pretty good, but I didn't take the time to actually learn how to tune a mic or anything like that until I won a giveaway and I got I got a dynamic Fee-Find mic. Now, once I heard how that was and how different a dynamic mic is compared to a condenser mic, I had to go in and tune it and make sure my EQ was right, make sure I wasn't clipping, make sure I wasn't overdoing my audio. I had to make sure really it was just tuned in to how my voice sounds and what I could bring to the table as far as like my voice goes. And then on the camera side of things, I actually used my laptop mic, the 2013 MacBook Pro. I tried a Logitech C920, and every time I would use that mic or try to turn it on, frames instantly drop. I sacrificed better frames over my camera. And in the long, hindsight 2020, not to say I wish I would have upgraded my PC or upgraded to a PC sooner, but having that PC does help with your overall production value. And then lighting. Lighting is crucial. Right now, I have actually 3 different lights set up. That way I can be lit up. My room is completely dark. If I turn off my actual lights, it still is kind of dark even with what's shining on me. It took a good amount of lights just to be able to have decent lighting, and that's what I'm using right now. Eventually I will upgrade to Elgato key lights. Boom, put them 45 degrees opposite side of my camera. Then I have my floodlight bouncing on here. It gives me a little bit of texture and a little bit of depth within my clothes and whatnot, because I do tend to wear all black. So lighting is crucial. Again, if you have a dope camera, it does not matter if your camera is absolutely phenomenal and your lighting sucks. I use an Elgato face cam, and even then I'm gonna turn off the lights, right? I'm gonna turn off just my background lights. It's a completely different look. I'm still lit up because I still have the key lights, or not necessarily the key lights, but I have the lights necessary to light me up. If you don't have good lighting, it does not matter how good your camera is. It just does not matter. And when it comes to a camera, again, I use the face cam and my PC allows me to run it at the best possible settings possible. You don't need to spend the money on a DSLR camera at the beginning whenever you're first starting out. Once you start getting Twitch checks and different stuff like that, okay, cool. Invest it back into your stream. That's a big thing. You need to take whatever your Twitch checks are and invest it back into your stream. That way you can up your production value. I'll talk about different ways to increase your production value, but that's at the end of the day, the better your stream looks, the more, I don't want to say the more fancy stuff you have, because there's a lot of streamers that don't do a bunch of fancy things, but there's little things that just help you stand out. One day I will have a Watch Me Work sign, a glow sign, this propped up right here. Just a little something like that. It's just something a little different, the way I have my layout set up. I just make sure your stuff stands out, your production value, how your camera captures that, how, your audio sounds, how even things like a stream deck or your overlays can overall help your production value and bring it up. And what's dope about production value, the things that come from production value? Number one, it makes a better experience for your viewers. At the end of the day, we're engaging with chat, engaging with the people that decided to stop by and check us out, talk to us, get to know us a little bit more, a little bit deeper. I personally want to make sure that I give the best production value to my viewers. I want to make sure that they have a good time and an enjoyable time when they're here. Low key, I want them to be able to tell their friends, hey bro, this man's here, has a dope ass stream. I want you to come check it out. Nothing is better than word of mouth at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how much stuff you post. If people are talking about you, about your stream, that's going to get more people in. Even if you're creating content and something that you create, someone else sees and they're like, yeah, I gotta tell my friend about this video. Boom, they tell their friend about this video because it was that good as well. And it just keeps going around. It's a chain reaction. So production value really does go a long way. And just for the first part, just making sure that your viewers have an enjoyable experience. Have you ever stepped into a stream and it was either jumping a lot? You might really enjoy the person, but it was jumping a lot. The video quality wasn't all that good. It's hard. It's hard to sit there and just enjoy it. That's just being honest. If your production value is garbage, that might be why your numbers aren't that good. You know, it's hard to just sit there and even at the very least, to me, your mic has to be number one. If your mic isn't that good, because a lot of people like lurkers will have you in the background. If your mic's not that good, they're not gonna lurk on you. They're not gonna have you up in the background because they don't want to hear anything. Your mic to me is number one, and number two is gonna be your camera and everything else. Number two, things that come from actually adding your production value and raising the production value of your streams is it makes editing your content easier. And it doesn't necessarily make it easier as far as like clipping and different stuff like that, but sitting down and looking at the content that you created and it looks good, just raw, you're like, bet, okay, I can actually go. It's almost like motivating, you know what I mean? You clip a clip, right? Okay, imagine this. You clip a clip and then you go back and look at it and it comes out beautifully. Or you clip a clip and you come back to it and it's all choppy. The quality is distorted and pixelated and stuff like that. It makes you wanting to edit your content actually easier. It really does. Just psychologically in your head, it makes it easier for you to edit your content. If your production looks good, if what you produce looks good, it's easier for you to create content around it. And when you increase your production value, at the end of the day, one of the like biggest things that's going to happen is your engagement value is going to go up. Your engagement value will go up because people are going to want to listen to you because your voice isn't all crackly and clipping and too loud and it's hurting their ears. People are going to be able to talk to you more because you've added certain elements into your camera or maybe like some channel points or some stuff like that. That's the entertainment value, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But your overall production, you're nice to look at. Your stream is smooth and fluid. Your voice sounds good and full. It's not missing any beats and everything sounds crisp. Engagement value is gonna rise just naturally because you added that level of production value. And last but not least, like I mentioned earlier, it'll bring in more funds for you to reinvest into your stream. If you have a crappy camera or even just not even willing to say a crappy camera, if your stuff is pixelated and it doesn't look good and you have a decent camera and again, his stuff just doesn't look good, people might want to donate because you might not have the money to do that, and you can kind of play that card and play that role. But once I personally elevated, I got a PC that could actually handle my streams and I could actually game on, and I got the necessary peripherals to sound good and to look good on camera, that's when I noticed more funds coming in every month. I now get a consistent check every single month from Twitch. And not only is it because I grew my community, but ultimately it's because my production value went up. Before I got my PC and upgraded my peripherals and stuff like that, I was probably sitting at like 15 subs a month or something like that. It's doubled. It might not be a lot to you or to anybody else out there, but at the end of the day, that's progress, over something that I invested into to make my stream better and sound better and look better. I might not be completely different than everybody else out there, but I'm gonna sound good and I'm gonna look good and my stream's gonna run fluidly and as fluidly as it can. Lately, we've been having some technical issues, but we're not gonna go into that. But yeah, so like I'm gonna make sure that my production value to me is like dang near number one. Like if my production value is good, the rest of the stuff, I'm gonna feel good good about the clips that I'm creating. I'm going to feel good about the content that I create, which is then going to just keep the ball rolling. And it's a snowball effect. It's just chain effect. And y'all, I'm not going to lie. That might be it for production value. I'm going to try to sit here for a second, try to think, see if I can come up with any more tidbits or like things you can do. I guess like look for deals when it comes down to like upgrading your setup and taking your stream money and reinvesting it back into your stream. Look around. You know, you have places that like you have Facebook Marketplace where people have tried this and didn't work out, so they're selling off their old equipment, stuff like that. You got all sorts of avenues to upgrading your setup. You got good credit, take a couple payments, pay that off. I'm not saying go into a bunch of debt. Do not go into a bunch of debt over upgrading this streaming thing because you don't know if it's going to work. Now, if you have the funds coming in and you know it's going to be supported, then why not continually invest into what you're actually doing? But I mean, yeah, I think that's going to be it for tonight. Next week, we're going to talk about engagement value. I know you heard me mention it a little bit earlier within this one, but yeah, we're going to talk about engagement value and what engagement value can bring to you. And then I'm going to tie it all together on the last episode. I won't bring up that name yet, but I'll tie it all together on the last episode. That way, don't worry, I'm painting a little picture here, okay? Call me Picasso, Van Gogh, all of them. I'm painting a little picture for y'all. All right, if y'all like the podcast, make sure you leave a 5-star. I greatly appreciate it. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and leave a comment down below. Like, hit the subscribe button. We're on our way to 50 subscribers. I greatly appreciate it. If you'd like to catch me on my socials, my Twitch is Mr.WatchMeWork. On Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, I am Mr.WatchMeWork TV. I'm gonna catch y'all next week. We drop every Tuesday at 8 a.m. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace.